Honorable colleagues, are there any petitions? In the absence of any petition, we'll move on. Matters of urgent public importance. Honorable Toby. Is Honorable Toby here? Yeah. The mics are not working. What's happening? Yes, Honorable Toby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Toby Okechukwu, and I represent an area of Woji River Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise this morning to seek the House permission to move a motion of urgent public importance regarding the need to investigate the unending fire at Caritas University site, Amoji, Nike, Enugu State, under Order 8, 4, and 7, the combined reading, so that I can take it today. Thank you very much.
Unending fire in the university?
Yes.
Okay. Under a strict interpretation of our rules, that will come under notice, not urgent public importance. But because it's Honorable Toby, a principal officer, a leader, an experienced man, we will take it. It was one of the privileges of leadership. And for those of you who are not happy, you move by God's grace to that position. So we will allow, and in the interest of the fact that we barely have about 4 weeks to close, so we have to make a few concessions here and there, because we're going to be closing for our annual recess sometime in July, in another 4 weeks. So anybody wants to second Honorable Toby's motion? Honorable, let's look for somebody from the main party. Honorable Dati.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Garbadet Mohammed. I represent Sabangari Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. I rise to second the motion as moved by our minority leader, Honorable Toby. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you. Those in support that this matter is urgent enough to take now, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Toby Okechukwu, and I represent an area of Woji River Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, thank you for your unusual kindness.
Did you say unusual?
Yes, you are not known to be that kind regarding the rules. But
You know you are special.
especially in the recent contemporary history. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I also want to take notice regarding the very copious and auspicious comments you made yesterday regarding the Electoral Act, where in circumstances it has been weaponized, where, as a matter of fact, there was an aspiration to make the law a more perfect law, to remove every ambiguity, and where there isn't any material difference between the 2010 Act and that of 2022. And suddenly, majority of members, where it has been weaponized, have become victims. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, something is wrong in an environment, in an institution, where the two leaders of the Senate would have to cross to other parties because of an inherent inclement condition. Anything that occasions it, anything that warrants it, if it is our electoral act, if it is our politics, if it is the environment where we operate, we need to retool. And like you said, we got to do a better work and we have to fight on. For me, it is just a battle that is lost. The war is on, and that we should go ahead to make sure that that law is retooled, made clear, and if it requires this parliament to take action to override what has not been signed, we should be willing to do so. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I want to move that the House notes the unending fire suspected to be fueled by methane gas at the premises of Caritas University, Amojinike, Enugu State, for over 22 days. The House further notes that the fire, which has claimed one life, reportedly started on Tuesday, May 24, 2022, after borehole drillers engaged by the university struck a gas belt after about 1,242 feet below the earth. The House also notes that all the efforts by the Nigerian Civil and Defense Corps, federal and state fire services, National Emergency Management Agency, and its state counterpart, SEMA, to put out the fire has failed, including pouring over 12 tankers of water and 4 drums of chemicals. The House is aware that since the fire started, there has been no known intervention from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation or any of its agencies. The House recalls that pursuant to our laws, the federal government is responsible for underground mineral resources and deposits. The House is concerned that the incident, which has been ongoing in the university community, poses the risk of further exposure to the general public and the destruction of its flora and fauna. The House is worried about the environmental hazards occasioned by the suspected gas flaring, bearing in mind the precarious situations in the South-South geopolitical zone. The House is aware of the indications of available mineral deposits in the Southeast, coupled with the recent recognition of Anambra and Kogi states as oil-producing states, hence the need to explore oil in the Enugu Belt. The House is aware that experts have warned of this danger of the fire to the ecosystem, or some could burn for, and same could burn for 50 years. The House is alarmed that an estimated 5,000 cubic feet of gas is consumed every minute in the fire, according to experts. The House is mindful of the commitment of the now House of Representatives to ensure delivery of value and make life less stressful to Nigerians. The House resolves to call on the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, and its subsidiaries, including the Nigerian Gas Company Limited, to take urgent steps to put out the fire. The House calls on the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and its subsidiaries, the Department of Petroleum Resources, and all relevant agencies to undertake a detailed study of the environmental impact of the fire. The House mandates the Committee on Petroleum Resources Upstream and the House Committee on Gas to follow up and report back to the House within 2 weeks for further legislative action. I so move.
Melu. On the second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndodi Godwin Elumelu, and I represent the good people of Aniocho Shimili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion moved by my colleague, Honorable Toby Okechukwu. I so second.
Yes, Honorable. I think that's straightforward. Just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. So, honorable colleagues, we go to the first order of the day, which is a consolidation of 4 bills. Honorable members may wish to note that the bills are on the same subject matter. And I invite the Chairman, Committee on Rules and Business, to move that the bills be consolidated. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Samfulata. I represent Beniwa Krika Samaguri Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. But Mr. Speaker, before I go on, it seems that you jumped item number 1.
Yes, I just saw that I skipped a presentation of bills.
Thank you.
Okay, this is, we'll go straight back to that. Honorable members, the business of the day is the presentation of 3 bills. And I invite the clerk to read the short titles.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Federal College of Education Special AFON, Kwara State Bill 2022, first reading. Nigerian Peace Corps Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Nigeria Hunters and Forest Security Service Establishment Bill 2022, first reading.
The members stated earlier, the first order of the day is consolidation of 4 bills.
Point of order, sir.
And we'll go back to the Committee on Rules and Business and the Chairman. Please, Chairman, Committee on Rules and Business, please move that the bills be consolidated.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Samfulata.
Clerk.
I represent Beniwa Krika Samaguri Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, a bill for an act to establish Electoral Offences Commission and the Electoral Offences Tribunal and for related matters. A bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Electoral Offences Commission and for related matters. A bill for an act to establish Electoral Offences Commission and the Electoral Offences Tribunal to provide for the legal framework for investigation and prosecution of electoral offences for the general improvement of the electoral process in Nigeria and for related matters, and a bill for an act to establish Electoral Offences Commission and for related matters. I move that the aforementioned bills be consolidated as one bill. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, this is on the Electoral Offences Commission bill. Therefore, we're consolidating 4 bills. Chairman, I know Honorable Chinda Because he even alerted me to this. It's one of the sponsors, right? Is there? Okay. All right. All right, those in favor of the consolidation, or rather, any seconder?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Abubakar Yunus Ahmad, representing Yamal to the Federal constituency of Gombe State. I stand to ably second the motion as moved by the Chairman Rules of Business that the 4 bills be consolidated. Thank you.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Please schedule a date for the commencement of debate. Honorable Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Ben Roland Igbakwa. I represent Ethiopia East, Ethiopia West, and by the special grace of God, we are still from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I come under section, it's a constitutional order, section 58, 1, 4, and 5. Mr. Speaker.
The Constitution?
Yes, sir.
58, okay, go ahead.
58, yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, section 4 of the Constitution gave us the powers to make laws. The legislative power is on us. And I remember, Mr. Speaker, having been with you for some time, you have shown leadership, capacity, and patriotism. On the 11th of May, with your colleagues, you brought all of us back from our various constituencies so that we can work on the Electoral Act as amended. Graciously, that was done on the 11th. And by 12th, Mr. Speaker, this amendment was transmitted to Mr. President. Mr. President did not just ignore. He traveled out of the country on condolence visit to Dubai. And that gave a lot of problems to the country. There were tension, and many of our political parties, out of the tension, created a problem that will now be for us in the 2023 to 2027 electoral process. Mr. Speaker, Nigerians are crying for good leadership. And the leadership recruitment process starts with our primaries. You have worked hard, sir, and there is nowhere. That is why I took us to section 58. We are to make laws and present to Mr. President. And where he does not sign, that same 58, 4 or 5 or so, give us the powers to make sure that we pass that law without Mr. President's assent. Mr. Speaker, there's no way in the Constitution, I managed to go through, I'm not a lawyer, but there's no way that said that one arm of government is subservient to the other. I think we are beginning with the good work that you are doing, Mr. Speaker. I just said you are a very good man, a wonderful man with your leadership. But by the time you leave this seat, by June next year, Mr. Speaker, Nigerians will not remember the good that you have done for me as a person, for the one you have done for our colleagues. They will remember you by the laws that you passed that has bettered the laws of Nigerians. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, we cannot continue to act as if we are under the executive arm of government. This Constitution gave us the powers, just like it gave to them. We must wake up as a parliament where we pass our laws and we are sure that we have done the right thing. We should start overriding Mr. President, because this is just the beginning. Today, NDDC Act is in force because the parliament, which we are part of, did it. Why are we afraid? Mr. President has not committed any offense. What he has done is the rule of law and the Constitution. And I believe by the time we do our own, by overriding his veto, we will not have committed any offense. We will be working according to the Constitution and the rule of law. I think it is time for us, before some of us leave, if we manage to come back, that this parliament must stamp their feet and tell Nigerians that we are working for them and we are not working for party or any individual. Mr. Speaker, I implore you as a great leader So please, it is time, if we are sure we have done what is right to the Electoral Act 2022, we should rise up, take our pen, collect signatures, and by the grace of God, override Mr. President and give Nigerians the enabling electoral law that will stand the test of time. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you for your point of order. Basically, the sum of what you've said is that there's a need, in your own opinion, for the House to override the withholding of assent to the electoral amendment. Clearly, the Constitution says you have there's 30 days leeway, and we have since gone beyond the 30 days. But the Constitution also says it's not automatic that you override. It's if you are convinced as a House that that amendment must stand. If you are not convinced with the arguments advanced by the President, or in some cases, in this case, there is really no argument advanced, then you can override. But for us to override, I believe we require 2/3 majority. And it cannot be by voice vote, neither can it be by way of signatures, unless, of course, you have enough 2/3 by signature. So what I will suggest is that you bring the application, a formal motion on notice. So perhaps tomorrow or whenever you are able to do that. And then we'll determine whether or not this House is ready to override or not. I think that's the way to go. That's the proper procedure. And I appreciate your comments. And I believe you're talking about the provision on statutory delegates, which Honorable Toby alluded to earlier. I believe that's the provision you're talking about. So we'll go ahead. You can file your motion, and hopefully we'll be able to list it tomorrow or whenever the calendar permits. The second order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Omuaron, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, to provide for appointment of provost and other officers of the college, to carry out the administration and discipline of students of the college, and for related matters, standing in the name of the House Leader. Honourable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on Bill on Thursday, 14th April 2022. I therefore call on the Leader to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, I am Comrade Peter Ohionzoje Akpatasin, MNI. I represent the great people of Aquaculture Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm still proudly a member of All Progressive Congress Party. I move that a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Omuaron, to provide full-time courses, teaching instructions and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, to provide for appointment of provost and other officers of the college, to carry out the administration and discipline of students of the college, and for related matter, HB 131, be now read for the third time. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Will somebody second the motion, please? Whip. Can you please second the...
Honorable Speaker,
Honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Muguno. I represent Marte Muguno, Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the motion for the third reading of the bill, ably moved by the Leader of the House.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill be now read the third time. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. And I invite the clerk to read the long title of the bill.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Omaran, to provide full-time courses, teaching instructions and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management. Provide for appointment of provost and other officers of the college to carry out the administration and discipline of students of the college and for related matters. Third reading.
The bill is read the third time and passed. Third order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Elebele Ogbia Bayelsa State, to provide full-time courses in teaching instructions and training in technology, applied sciences, humanities, and management, and provide for appointment of provost and other officers of the college to carry out administration and discipline of students of the college, and for related matters, stand in the name of the House Leader. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 14th April 2022, and therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Mr. Speaker, sir, since orders 3 and 4 are similar, may I seek your indulgence that we take the two together?
You mean this and the next one? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my dear colleagues. Once again, I'm from Peter Nozoja Patterson, MNI. I represent the great people of Aquaculture Federal Constituency, a member of APC. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I move that a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Elebele Ogbia, Bayelsa State, to provide full-time courses, teaching instructions and training in technology, applied science, arts and social sciences, humanities and management, and provide for appointment of provosts and other officers of the college to carry out administration and discipline of students of the college, and for related matters, HB 1507 be now read for the third time, and also a bill for an act to establish the Admiralty University of Nigeria, Ibusa, as conventional university with selected programs, limited and focused faculties to promote scholarship, research, and other means of advancement of knowledge and its practical application to military hardware and software, as well as maritime arts, science, and technology, and provide an opportunity for acquiring higher and liberal education in Nigeria, and for related matters. HB 1339 be now read for the third time. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I so move.
Okay, can we have somebody second the two motions?
Okay.
Whip.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Marte Monguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the third reading of the two bills as ably moved by the Leader of the House.
Those in favor of the two motions, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. And I invite the clerk to read the long title of the two bills.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Elebele Ogbia, Bayelsa State, to provide full-time courses, teaching instructions and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities and management, and provide for appointment of provost and other officers of the college to carry out administration and discipline of students of the college and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to establish the Admiralty University of Nigeria, Ibusa, as conventional university with selected programs, limited and focused faculties, and promote scholarship, research, and other means of advancement of knowledge and its practical application to military hardware and software, as well as maritime, arts, science, and technology, and provide an opportunity for acquiring higher and liberal education in Nigeria and for related matters. Third reading.
The fifth order
matters,
of
German insurance and accrual matters. Approach the chief whip.
the two bills are read third time and passed. Commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to provide with the establishment of Federal Polytechnic in Yak, Shandam, Plateau State, to provide full and part-time courses of instruction in different fields of study and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Adamu Yusuf Gagdi, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 13th February 2021, and I invite Honorable Gagdi to move that the bill be now read a second time. Honorable Gagdi.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, my name is Yusuf Adamu Gagdi. I represent Panshinkanke Kanam Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Plateau State. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to move that a bill for an act to establish a Federal Polytechnic near Shandam, Plateau State, to provide full-time and part-time courses of instruction in different fields of study and for related matters, HB 1897, be read for a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, please take your seat. Silence, please.
Who is this member? Who is this one? I don't know his name.
Okay, anybody to...
Silence, please. Silence, please.
This is a Plateau State bill, so it's very important, and I support it.
Then you check it.
Honorable Uju Kingsley. Please, second. Please, second. Leave Honorable Nasir Ali Ahmed alone.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Uju Kingsley Chima, member representing Ohajima Oguta, Oru West Constituency of Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I support the bill as moved by Honorable Yusuf Gali. I second the bill as moved by Honorable Yusuf Gandhi. I so move.
No need for debate. Honorable Gagdi, let's put the question. It's Plateau State now. What is that? Eh? Go on, what do you say?
Put the question, Mr. Speaker.
You want us to debate? No. It's an establishment bill. It's an establishment bill, number one. Number two, you don't have a bias for Plateau State. Yeah, comrade said obviously. Those said, well, have we put the question? Okay, those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Invited to read the long title, please.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal Polytechnic in Yangshan Dam, Plateau State, to provide full and part-time courses of instruction in different fields of study and for related matters. Second reading.
Okay, this bill is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. You know what just happened there? I'll tell you what Gagdi told me later. The sixth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Fishery and Aquaculture in Taraba State, Taraba State, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Gambo Mubarak. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 2nd July. I now invite Honorable Mubarak to move that the bill be now read the second time. Honorable Mubarak.
Mr. Speaker, it seems Honorable Mubarak is not on the floor. I move that the second reading of the bill be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
So, bill step down. The seventh order of the day is motion on need to address the menace of flood and erosion in Misau Damba Federal Constituency in Bauchi State, standing in the name of Honorable Ibrahim Makama Misau. Honorable Misau is invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, my respected honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Ibrahim Makama Misau, representing Misau Damba Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, yes, I want to make a statement, Mr. Speaker, before.
You want to what?
Yeah, just I need your attention just for 1 second.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I'm a bona fide member of the main party, APC. I'm from Bauchi State. Thank you.
Okay, you're reaffirming your membership of APC.
Yes, sir.
Was it ever in doubt?
No, it was a fake news.
It was fake news?
Yeah, it was a fake news.
Under what rules?
Very good.
Mr. Speaker.
We are glad to hear it.
Under
Honorable Elumelu, did you hear what he said? He is reaffirming his membership of APC.
Is it the
And
business?
apparently you, Honorable Elumelu, were spreading fake news that he had joined PDP.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Who's raising point of order? Honorable Toby, please.
Yes.
The order is
I come under our rules of debate.
which order?
Our rules of debate. to
That's
the
no, that's not an order. Rules of debate is not an order. Which order are you referring to?
Can I have the?
Okay, so when you are ready, so that we move on. Honorable
It's not
Misal,
the business of the House for somebody to get up and reaffirm his membership of
all
a party.
points of orders
It's out
must.
of order.
Consider this right of debate in the motion.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
I rise to move a motion that the House notes that the deer in Misau Damba Federal Constituency of Bauchi State are constantly devastated by the flood and erosion due to the destruction of the dam in in the area. The House also notes that the communities of Jalam, Dambam, Dagauda, Zadawa, Tofu, Hardawa, Gwaram, Akuyam, Kafin Sule, Beti, Ajil Gugulin, and some parts of Miso have suffered from flooding in recent times, with devastating effects on lives, properties, and the environment. The House is concerned that the constant flooding and erosion, persistent heavy rainfall, may be as a result of global effects of climate change. Worried that the cultural heritage of the annual fishing festival, which is already negatively affected by the annual flooding and erosion, may be lost completely if the situation is not addressed. The House resolved, 1, urge the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Federal Ministry of Environment to include the affected areas in mapping the erosion-prone areas immediately. 2, also urge the Hadeja Jama'ari River Basin to include the affected communities in its 2022 policy on the reconstruction of dilapidated dams across the country, and consider redredging of Deer Dam in Dambam local government and Maladumba Dam in Misa local government areas. 3, further urge the Ecological Fund Office to immediately commence the reconstruction of erosion site in the affected areas in Misa Dambam Federal Constituency. 4, mandate the Committees of Environment and Ecological Fund to ensure compliance. I so moved, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Badru, please second. Honorable Badru. Honorable Badru, please second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Enis Odolako Badru. I represent Lagos Island 1 Federal Constituency. I'm from Lagos State. I hereby second the motion to move the motion to second the motion hereby Honorable Makama Misal. I so second.
What did he say during this, when he was moving the motion? What was it about? I don't know why you are saying.
It's about the flood and erosion in his constituency.
Erosion.
Yes, flood
Very
and
good,
erosion.
very good, very good. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. The 8th order of the day is a motion on the call for rehabilitation of Afaha Obong Iwem Federal Road in Akwa Ibom State, standing in the name of Honorable Anekan Umana. Honorable Umana is invited to move the motion.
Honorable Princess, you are distracting Speaker.
Yes, yes.
He has been asked to take his motion.
Honorable Princess, you are distracting the whole House.
Yes.
Give your permission.
Honorable Princess, please come.
Thank you. Thank you.
The whip wants you to leave. Stop distracting me. Have you moved your motion? Go ahead.
Why didn't I problem? Why didn't
Go ahead. It's not working. Volume.
Honorable.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am Honorable Anie Khan Umana member representing the unique people of Abak, Itimekweka Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, we are from the vibrant state of Akwa Ibom. And I come forward with a motion calling on the rehabilitation of Afaobong Iwukem Federal Road in Akwa Ibom State. The House notes that economic activity thrives more in communities where there are good access roads for the movement of farm produce, goods, and services from one point to another. Also notes that the 41-kilometer Afaobong Iwukem Road is a federal road that traverses Abak and Echimekbo local government areas in Akwa Ibom State, and is also a major connection to Aba in Abia State and Port Harcourt in Rivers State. Concerned that the road has collapsed around the vicinities of Urotai Korekpo, Etongtobo, and Oboikpo communities in Echimekbo local government areas, and have caused untold hardship as motorists and commuters spend long hours to the debilitated state of the road. Untold hardship to the people who rely on it to transport their goods and services on a daily basis. Concerned that the distance which would have been covered in less than 30 minutes now takes several hours, especially around the failed sections of the federal road. Cognizant that if nothing is done urgently to rehabilitate the road, it will continue to deteriorate and pose security threats to lives of commuters, thus hampering socioeconomic activities and the growth of the area. The House therefore resolves to urge the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, to urgently intervene and rehabilitate the failed portions of the Afaobong Iwukem Federal Road to ease the hardship experienced by the people and users of the road. 2, mandate the Committee on FEMA to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Osby, please second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Gono Siribu. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Imo State. I represent the good people of Unkwere, Nwangele, Isu, and Njaba Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved by my brother, Honorable Mana. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. It's an infrastructure motion. We'll put the question. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Oh. Somebody has an amendment? Ganu Johnson. What's your amendment, please? Why are these mics not working?
Honorable Halim, take your seat, please. Honorable Halim, take your seat.
My name is Abdulgani Johnson. I represent the good people of Oshodi Sol of Federal Constituency. My amendment on the motion is on...
Chairman Ethics, take your seat. Chairman Ethics and Privileges, take your seat.
My amendment is on the motion that we should urge the committee the Committee on Appropriation to accommodate this road in next year's budget. The reason being that the existing road may not be accommodated this current fiscal year because there are so many roads under FEMA pursuing the meager resources they have. Therefore, I'm suggesting that if it is captured in next year's budget, most likely the roads may be attended to. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Like I said, the amendment is urge the Committee on Appropriation to accommodate the road. Yes, that's the prayer now. No, well, it is not Committee on Works. The Committee on FEMA. The Committee on FEMA.
Sorry about that. Have you moved your amendment?
Yeah, you want me to?
Have you moved it?
Yes, I've moved the amendment.
Okay, any seconder? Honorable Toby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Toby Okechukwu. I represent an area of Wajiriba Federal Constituency. I hereby second the amendment moved by my colleague Johnson, who is my landlord in Lagos. Thank you very much.
And that is to have it included in next year's budget. Those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Committee on Legislative Compliance, please, and clerk, please write officially to the committee on appropriations that this needs to go in next year's budget. The ninth order of the day is a motion on need for the Independent National Electoral Commission to extend the deadline of continuous voter registration, deploy additional staff and voters registration machines across the country, standing in the name of Honorable Benjamin Okezi Kalu. Honorable Kalu is invited to move the motion. Where's okay. Try the one next to Honorable Gagdi. Honorable Gagdi, is your microphone? Okay, that one is working over there. The Wi-Fi, his mic is working.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Benjamin Okezie Carlo. I represent the good people of Nigeria, starting from Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Abia State. I rise to move a motion on the need for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to extend the deadline. Chief Whip, am I protected? To extend the deadline of the continuous voters registration, deploy additional staff and voters registration machine across the country. The House notes that the ongoing continuous voters registration CVR by the Independent National Electoral Commission
Yes.
is scheduled to end on 30th June 2022, ahead of the 2023 general elections. The House also notes that the decision to suspend the voters registration is in line with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022, which requires INEC to suspend voters registration at least 60 days before an election. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House is aware that in April 2022, INEC declared that about 42% of the voters registration recorded since the commencement of continuous voters registration on 28 June 2021 were invalid, with about 20 million unclaimed permanent voters card, PVC. Mr. Speaker, the House is cognizant of the large number of unregistered eligible voters willing to be registered, as evidenced by the crowd seen at various registration centers, resulting in congestion. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House is concerned by reports of shortages of voters registration machines, inadequate manpower, and personnel at registration centers, which may lead to frustrations among prospective registrants, and in some areas, and in some cases, unrest at some registration centers. The House also is aware of calls from concerned citizens and civil societies urging INEC to extend the voters' registration deadline to accommodate eligible voters desiring to register for their permanent voters' card. The House is further aware that the right to vote is critical and critically important to the health and legitimacy of our democracy, as well as electoral integrity. The House is also cognizant that if nothing is done to improve the shortage of voter registration equipment and extend the deadline for voters registration, millions of Nigerians will be disenfranchised, thus jeopardizing the integrity of the 2023 election. The House therefore resolves as follows. 1, to urge the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to extend the voters' registration deadline by an extra 60 days from June 30th, 2022 to enable Nigerians to register. Number 2, mandate the Committee on Electoral Matters to engage the Independent National Electoral Commission to examine and profile solution to the shortage of registration machines and manpower, and deploy an additional 30 voter registration machine in each local government area. Train and deploy ad hoc staff to improve the shortage of manpower at registration centers. Provide security for the ad hoc staff and report back within 2 weeks. I so move.
Honorable Priye. Sorry, I'm not sure what's wrong with the microphones today. We have to look into it. Just find one that works.
Come this side. Okay, the APC side. Thank you, Mr. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Priye Oseke. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Honorable Benjamin Okezie-Carlo. I so second.
I think Honorable Carlo's motion is basically to ask for an extension of 60 days for registration. Somebody was saying amendment? If I, what's your amendment?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Ifeanyi through the MoMA. I speak for the people of Ihiala Federal Constituency. I'm from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, since recently, since there's an upsurge in the number of willing people that want to do their CVR, I mean, all of a sudden there's an astronomical increase all over the country. Everybody wants to get registered. So I want to move an amendment that INEC should decentralize the process in such a way that they can use places that are seen as hub for political gatherings. Places like the university institutions, the churches, the mosque, even the market squares, so they can establish registration centers in those areas in order to help enable and create access to the people that, access and proximity to the people that want to register there. And it will also reduce the burden of a lot of crowding at the designated registration centers, especially at the local government secretariats. That's my amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Osby.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Once again, my name is Honorable Gonos. I'm from Imo State, Mr. Speaker, representing the good people of Unkwari, Su, Wangolan, Jaba Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the amendment as moved by Honorable Fagimon.
All right, amendment is for the registration establishment of more registration centers nationwide. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Okay, so those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The nays have it. Amendment, Honorable Gagdi.
My name is Honorable Yusuf Gagdi.
If I maybe you can get somebody to bring another amendment in a different way.
I represent Panshinka
different language.
My own, Mr. Speaker, is to call our attention. The motion is a very good one, and I support it. I must make my position very clear that I support it. My only area of concern, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of time. We must be fair to INEC to some extent, sir. This is the second time we are moving a motion for an extension, which I agree it should be extended. I agree. But we should equally be mindful of the fact that when we suffocate the timetable of the Electoral Commission, if they fail tomorrow, we will complain. So I think, in my opinion, as honorable members, we have the obligation, within the time limit of the prayers of the motion, to call on our constituents to ensure that they have gone to register. Instead of coming here on daily basis to be asking for the extension of time, whereas the civic education, educating the electorate to go and register within the stipulated time, to allow INEC equally discharge their program and execute it within the stipulated time is important. So, Mr. Speaker, if this is the second time we are calling for extension, looking at the activities of INEC, if we are familiar with their timetable, I request that we should reduce it from 60 days to 30 days. That is my amendment, Mr. Speaker.
To 30 days? Honorable Jimmy Benson, what's your information reaching me is that INEC has already extended till August. Yes, Honorable Benson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I remain Baba Jimmy Benson.
I represent the very good people of the Ikorodu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, a couple of days ago, I read in the newspapers that this same exercise has been extended till August. So I'm not sure that this motion, the efficacy of this motion anymore. I've also confirmed from some colleagues that they also had the same information. If that is so, sir, I believe that this motion is of no effect. But some other parts of it may also complement.
Is the chairman electoral matters here? So maybe it's better we err on the side of caution. And you can amend the prayer to read that in the absence of any extension by INEC, that we urge INEC to extend. Do you understand? In the absence of any extension by INEC. So we're covered. So if they've extended, fine. If they've not extended, the motion stands. Honorable Kiruka. No, but there's an amendment on. Honorable Gagdi had an amendment to 30 days.
Yes, 30 days now, but we are amending it to read that in absence that the INEC have extended. My name is Nkiru Kaonye Georgia. I represent the people of Isukwatu Munoj Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I commend the mover of the motion because the truth is that we have sensitized people enough to go to get their PVC, and many people are coming to get their PVC. Even the elderly, the youth, and all kind of people, including the people living with disability. So I'm even saying that INEC should provide more machines because what they have now, one per local government, is not just enough. And there's this one they call offline. The offline has not gotten to so many states. So I believe that this is a very good motion, but to add that INEC should wake up to get more machines across the states, and urge that they accept to extend the timeline that they already have. In case they have not extended it, that they should extend.
Are you amending the motion?
That's for further extension, not 30 days. To take that the motion stands like he said 60 days if INEC had not extended. So I move that we should not reduce the 60 days.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, you're supporting the 60 days, but
Yes, sir.
Honorable Gagdi has moved for 30 days. Any seconder? Honorable, who seconded? An addendum before the secondment. Okay, what's the addendum?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this parliament...
Please, somebody help me check the rules if we have addendum in our rules.
Mr. Speaker, I think this parliament should actually take knowledge-based decisions. And as a matter of fact, like you intoned, that the amendment should read extension, that the NX should extend where they have not done so. My own view is that we have a committee in the House that deals with INEC matters. And I don't want us to be a bit hazy. My thinking, Mr. Speaker, is to re-echo what the minority leader said. Let us step down this motion. Call the chairman of the committee. So, just a moment, sir. INEC.
So that's not an addendum. You're speaking against the motion. That's not an addendum.
No, we step it down and take a decision tomorrow after the information. I believe that is not against the motion.
To step it down, that's against the motion. And you have a right. You actually have a right to speak against the motion. Don't get me wrong. So we have a motion, an amendment on ground by Honorable Yusuf Gagdi from 60 days to 30 30 days. Is there a seconder? Any seconder? There is no, Honorable Gagdi, there is no seconder. Honorable Luga, you had your hand raised up that you were going to second. You changed your mind. And that's what I've been saying now. Are you seconding? Honorable Benson, why are you telling her not to second? Honorable Luga, go ahead and second.
Right, Honorable Speaker, on your directive, sir.
What did she say?
My name is
What were you raising your hand for? Raising your hand earlier.
Mr. Speaker, I have the floor. Let me just go ahead.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Taiwo Oluga is my name. I speak on behalf of all the people of Irewole Ayedade Shoko Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, as you have directed me to second the motion, I want to stand on that and that the date should I go ahead? Please allow
So
me.
you are seconding under duress. Why did you have your hand up when I asked for seconder?
I wasn't raising again, sir. I was even discussing with Honorable Jimmy Benson.
You were not raising your hand.
Again, I've raised it before, but
Huh? Were you raising? You changed your mind.
yes.
So are you seconding or are you not? Okay, so you are not seconding. I don't want a reluctant second. No.
I think when you put the question, let me just go ahead to follow the normal procedure. Let me second when I second, then you put the question. If the House want it, then they just go ahead. So,
are you directing Mr. Speaker?
I'm not directing, I'm just...
You are directing Mr. Speaker on how to preside.
Oh.
You are directing Mr. Speaker on how to preside. Yes.
This amendment is not being properly seconded. So we look for a voluntary seconder. Honorable Kuye. Honorable Luga, I didn't know Honorable Benson has so much influence on you. Yes.
Motion brought by Honorable Ben Kali. No. To second the amendment made by the Deputy Minority.
No. The secondment I'm looking for is for the amendment of Honorable Gagdi. So I will assume that there is no amendment. Second, yes, Honorable Gagdi, because you want to second the minority. You are seconding Gagdi. Are you seconding Gagdi? You want to second Honorable Toby?
Mr. Speaker, I'm Yusuf Gagdi. You mustn't succeed all the time. Let there be decorum. Move your own and withdraw. My position is clear. You can act 200 days, but I call the attention of the House to the fact that this is the second time we are asking INEC to extend. If you act 200 days and the INEC were unable to discharge what you want them to do due to the suffocation, what have you done? So, Mr. Speaker, I'm not against the motion, I'm supporting the motion. But we should go to equity with clean hands. Let us not be seen as the ones suffocating the timing of the Independent National Electoral Commission. That is why I said the 30 days, the 90 days should be 30. And that is my opinion, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
If there is no seconder, I go with pride that I have moved the motion and it is not amendment and I have no scale through. You mustn't succeed.
So let us be clear. Honorable Gagdi supports the motion, but he thought the 60 days was a bit too long and he should have bridged it to 30 days because we've already had one prior extension. and he's stepping down his amendment since there was no seconder. There was another amendment. There's another amendment on the floor, I think by Honorable Toby. Honorable Toby, you had an amendment, or it was just a contribution to the debate? It was not an amendment. Stepping down is not an amendment. No, stepping down is not an amendment. You were contributing to the debate, and your conclusion was that we should step it down. That's not an amendment. Huh? To step down for a knowledge-based decision. It's not an amendment. So that's your contribution to the debate, to step it down. So I'll just put the Honorable Isiaka, so I'll put the question and then we'll move on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for yielding the floor to me. I'm Honorable Rep. Ibrahim Ayokunle Isiaka. I present a very good report before Iweko Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ogun State. I want to add another clause to that amendment. And this is premised on the fact that INEC is just a nearby neighbor to us here. We have a committee oversighting them, Mr. Speaker. I want to add that the House mandates the committee oversighting them to liaise with INEC. All the arguments we have advanced here, they should push it before them. We are talking about efficiency and effectiveness here, Mr. Speaker. There is no terminal date for you to get your driver's license. There is no terminal date for you to get your international passport. INEC should be able to explain to us, since permanent voter's card is what a card reader is going to read for somebody to vote, what challenges, what impediments, what reasons do they have to say that by 30th of June, there should not be further registration? We have staff across the country that government is paying for, more than 100, 200, 500,000 of them, across the 774 local governments. And this is supposed to be a continuous exercise, even up to the date of the election. And then coming up to say there is a terminal date when people should be registered. I've never heard that anywhere. Not in this climate, Mr. Speaker. So, putting all this together in one basket, I further amend that the committee oversighting them should come and submit report to this House latest by Wednesday next week. All what we have discussed here, that is at least 90 days should be given for further extension on this permanent voters registration.
All right.
And then report to the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Good argument, but you know, you use two examples: no terminal date for passports, no terminal date for driver's license. But you have to also accept that those examples do not have an event. INEC has an event, which is election. And that's why they have a terminal date. So I don't think the comparison works. You know, they are working towards an event, and there has to be. And if you look at it in international climes, they have a time when, you know, you close registration. Now, maybe it should be closer to the date of election as opposed to 6 months before election, and I'm sure that's fair enough. But to say there should be no terminal days for the purpose of organization, and it's in your electoral act. So you will have to amend your electoral act. You pass the electoral act giving a terminal date. Yes, I understand, but his argument is that there should be no terminal date, even up until the date of election. So, Honorable Isaka's amendment is that we send this to the Committee on Electoral Matters to liaise with INEC and report to the House, he said, in 2 weeks or in a week? A week. Next week. So that's your amendment. Any seconder to that amendment? Honorable Fred.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Bedi Yetim Frederick is my name. I represent Sabama Kremo Federal Constituency. Zonkeme, I rise to second the motion as ably moved. I so second.
Mr. Speaker, you were looking for the House Committee Chairman on electoral matters. She's around now, so I think it's better we make use of her, since she's
No, it's just a simple question for her. It's a simple question, so because we've spent too long on it. Yeah. Chairman, has INEC extended voter registration or not? They have not. That's all.
No, sir, they have not.
Okay, because we got information that they had extended till August. They have not. Okay. Yes, now it's knowledge-based, which is what Honorable Toby was striving for. You have an amendment? What's your amendment? Well, let's put the question to this, the amendment on the floor by Honorable Isiaka, which is for the committee to liaise with INEC. Those in favor of that amendment, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
And it must reflect our environment and what is happening and the willingness of Nigerians to register. In other jurisdictions, Mr. Speaker, there isn't a time limit where you are not able to register 6 months, 9 months to election. You register up to a week to election. And it does no injury to the electoral process since there is a data capture. In liaising with INEC, the committee should know and take note of what happens in other jurisdictions and get INEC to follow suit. And like you always say, for us to deepen our democracy. Thank you very much.
Would that require an amendment to the Electoral Act? Honorable Toby, you're always coming through subterfuge. You said you had an amendment. That was not an amendment.
Well,
the other time it was addendum. It was not an addendum. You are bringing your experience to bear and it's getting overbearing.
The opinion of the Speaker is very primary in this Parliament.
All right. Honorable Kiru.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Kiru Kaonye Georgia is my name. I represent the people of Isukwatu Munot Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I had earlier submitted an amendment based on the fact that we were not sure whether INEC extended or not. So I'm withdrawing that amendment to adopt the amendment as stipulated in this motion, that we should put question on this motion because it's apt. So
okay.
I submit.
I think the chairman INEC committee has clarified everything, and I think that means that Honorable Ben's motion, Honorable Benjamin Kalu's motion is in order, which is, and they want to amend it to 30 days, did not scale through. So I'll put the question on the 60-day extension. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The 10th order of the day is a motion on the need to, Honorable, you said you were withdrawing, right? I think so. We're going to, the Honorable waive as, go ahead and withdraw by yourself. Where is he? He left? Okay, so this matter is withdrawn. The 10th order of the day is withdrawn. The 11th order of the day is a motion on call for the removal, and is Honorable Sejus here? Huh? Standing? Under what rule is that? Tell me the rule where you can stand in for somebody's motion. Is your name on the motion? So this matter is withdrawn. Mamishi.
That I extend the route out to close June 30. I make extend to the online registration.
To when? They extended to when? All right. We spent a lot of time on the last motion. Chairman INEC, please liaise properly with INEC because I'm really getting conflicting information that this thing has actually been extended.
No, sir. Yes, sir, I will.
Please.
Thank you.
All right. I think we're going to call it a day. Consideration of reports is what's next. We'll suspend that till tomorrow. Number 10? 10? Which one is 10? We've passed that now. Yeah. We've done 10 and 11. We did 11. 11 was, the 11th order was, okay, that one has been withdrawn. Yeah. All right. So, leader, please, can you move for adjournment?
Yes, sir.
Oh, before that, hold on a second, please. Before that.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues.
Honorable Deputy Leader, please 1 minute, sorry. Honorable colleagues, you will recall that on Tuesday, 14th June 2022, I made my end of session address, ushering in the commencement of the 4th session and inaugurating its final session of the 9th Assembly. Ordinarily, the House would have embarked on a break, but for the elongated party primaries, we are now over a week into the 4th session. And like I said, this is the 4th and final session of this 9th Assembly. This announcement is particularly intended to remind various ad hoc committees to work harder with a view to submitting their reports. This is more so, especially that we inch towards our annual break in early July. So we have basically about 4 weeks left. Please work harder, ad hoc committees, to submit your report. Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I am Comrade Peter Ohiozoje Apatasi, MNI. Mr. Speaker, I move that this House do adjourn tomorrow, Thursday, by 11 o'clock. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable Adejare, please second the motion to adjourn till tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very, very much. I still remain Honorable Dr. Samuel Babatunde Adejare. I rise to second the motion to adjourn till tomorrow. Asumu. Thank you.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. House adjourned till tomorrow, 11 a.m.